What makes Stanford University a center of innovation and entrepreneurship?
So at Stanford, there is one word that we always use, and that is impact.
Impact,
okay?
Yes.
We only evaluate our faculty and our students' projects, research projects, by impact. We don't mean it has to be short-term impact, it could be long-term impact, but the most important thing is that does it really make a difference to the people in the world? And computer science is an incredible topic. You know, I think in the last N years we have been creating technology that affects everybody every day, and that's impact. Computer science is now the largest major at Stanford University. And over 90% of our students take at least one computer science class. And this is all because we have an incredible introductory class. Because most of the students who came to Stanford, most of the students who came to Stanford didn't know that they wanted to go into computer science. They would come here, and then they would hear from their friends that they have to take this introductory computer science class. And so they would take that class, and they discover what computer science truly is. And from then on, this is how we get so many students in the major. And I think this is just the beginning. I hope that this is the same thing that is going to repeat it all around the world.
And this is endowed professorships, of which I'm lucky to be one. So you're right in the heart of the engineering school. And so I'm going to show you two things downstairs. The relationship is good, and it is historic. It's been growing since before World War II, almost 80 years, in a very symbiotic way. So I've been pleased and honored to be part of that directly over the last almost 20 years. We started the Stanford Technology Ventures program, which is a mouthful, in the 90s with the view of accelerating entrepreneurship education, especially for engineers and scientists, but frankly at this point almost everyone on the campus. Previous to that, pretty much entrepreneurship education was only found in business schools. Now it's part of the opportunity for all students on the campus. So it's been a long and productive relationship between Silicon Valley and Stanford, and then I've been lucky, along with now 30 colleagues, to be involved directly with the education part. It was a work-study program in entrepreneurship. Yeah, so people, you can see, is the #1 part of entrepreneurship. College is supposed to be a transformative experience, and I'm sure it was for you as it was for me. It's never been more important to include the opportunity to learn about innovation and entrepreneurship, not just to necessarily be a founder of a company, but because the challenges of this century are so grand around sustainability, around human health, around poverty alleviation, around the infrastructure that's going to support this many human beings on the planet. They're so grand that something has to enable that. Great technology will help, great science will help, but having a mindset of an entrepreneur and of an innovator will really, really accelerate finding those solutions. It turns out that can be taught. And so Stanford is not the only place that feels this way. The good news is there's universities all over the world who feel this way, in every continent. We know that because we've held conferences like the Global Entrepreneurship Conference. We've held similar kinds of conferences just for educators for 15 years talking about this topic. And we learned that there's a long way to go to actually implement this opportunity, or to take advantage of this opportunity to teach entrepreneurship and innovation to everyone, but it can happen. So we're pleased that we've got a good start here, but it is a great opportunity for all universities and colleges to think about adding more entrepreneurship and innovation education.
Coursera is a Silicon Valley startup that offers free college-level classes to millions of online visitors. I visited Professor Daphne Koller to learn about her shift from the traditional classroom teaching to online education for all.
I think for anyone to be an entrepreneur, they need a certain level of education, but in many parts of the world, education of high quality is hard to find. And so we believe that we're providing people with an opportunity to have those doors open to them so that they can live their dreams and become entrepreneurs.
Get his feedback.
Like instructor analytics.
Yeah. So that there's this new team.
For me, the move into entrepreneurship in this particular context was really a very natural progression because I've always been passionate about education. And so it was, it's not a different direction than what I've been doing, although in many ways it is, but it's a very natural extension of things that I've always cared about. That having been said, you know, running a company is actually quite different than running a research group at a university. The metrics of performance are much more crisp, much more immediate in terms of what you need to keep optimizing for. And it's very different to, you know, when you run a research group, you have a bunch of graduate students, each one takes his or her own direction. As long as they're doing great work that's relatively aligned with the overall direction of the lab, that's fine. But in a company, you really need to make sure that everyone is kind of driving towards the mission all the time. And so it takes a lot more coordination and thought to run a company and make sure that it succeeds.
TechCrunch Disrupt is one of the most anticipated technology conferences for the technology community.
Retro, black and white, square field.
I was at Disrupt San Francisco Hackathon 2013 and was excited to be in the same venue with hundreds of bright talents from various backgrounds.
My name is Roger Pincombe. I run a tech company called Augur in Boulder, Colorado. And I'm here at TechCrunch Disrupt building a project that basically correlates the historical weather data with historical purchase data to try and figure out, do people buy certain things in certain types of weather, and that way stores and restaurants can focus on, you know, restocking things that are going to be needed soon. So for example, a coffee shop might sell a lot more hot tea on cold days than on hot days. So by being able to forecast that ahead of time, they can make sure things are in stock, they can offer coupons, stuff like that.
I just want to take a picture first. People every day, we all make choices. For instance, you probably make a choice for a logo you might use for your company, or a team, or even a different shade of red just for your clothing material.
So I've been making photo booths at parties that I throw just in my house, but usually if you do that, you either have to pay $1,000 to have somebody come in and set one up, which is not an option for a grad student. I'm a bioengineering grad student, so is she, in Berkeley, and so instead I take a camera, set it up, hook it to a laptop, have a monitor and a keyboard, and it's really messed up. It takes a lot of work to get it together, and halfway through the party it always gets broken, and then you're like a little bit tipsy and you're trying to fix it, and so it's just a mess. And so I've been dreaming for a while of just having like an easy app, and I searched because I wanted to just download one, and there's no app for doing this kind of a thing. So then I was telling Donald, well, so subsequently Donald built this over here, which is Photobot, the first version.
We went to one of Rick's parties and we really liked the Photobot, and then we were getting married soon, so Sophie wanted a Photobot for the wedding, so then I made a Photobot for the wedding. This one. Yeah, so this is the original one, and this one has like a computer inside, and there's a screen in the back and a webcam, and then Rick wants obviously to be even better, so he wanted an app for us to make. So I've never made an app before. But
he made an app today for the first time, starting from scratch, made the entire Android app for the thing in there, and so it works like pretty decently. But I think we'll make like a better version and release it so anybody can just set up a photo booth when they want. So.
Do you often attend hackathons?
This is our first one for all of us.
Everyone.
Yeah, so I'm going to be running a biohackathon in January. So we're more like biologists, and so for the biohackathon, I wanted to get a sense for how a regular hackathon works, what's good, what's bad, and so that's why I was telling them we should really go to this hackathon and let's use it as an excuse to actually make this photo app, and so that's what we did.
Join companies and ask them to create debugging stuff. Enter Karma, the beautifully...
TechCrunch Disrupt is the hackathon of the year, and we're so excited to get to compete as a company for Nearwoo. I go to lots of different hackathons all the time. We both love hackathons, and actually, So Nearwoo is an LA-based startup. So we all crammed into a car, see, advertised near you, and drove all the way up here. So it was a lot of work to get here, very long drive, but it was totally worth it. And Meg presented for our team, and she did a really good job, and we think we're gonna win.
So one of the exciting things about living at Google, I say we're constantly living in the future. And that means we get to see things that are about to debut that have not yet. We're also trying to anticipate where our developers are going. The two big things that we talk about are our two largest platforms right now, the first of which being Chrome, the second being Android. Everybody has a smartphone in their pocket, or it sure seems like it. And if they don't, they sure want one, and we're going to get there. So everyone's looking at mobile in terms of the way that they consume content and they write new applications. And the second is coding for the web. I believe when you take a big bet on the web, you win. And every time you bet on the web, you're recognizing that anybody who can get access to your web application or your web service is going to behave in the same way. No matter what type of computer they're using, what speed their bandwidth looks like, it's just going to work. And so when you take a bet on the web or a bet on mobile, you're doing the right thing. And we've also seen a lot of exciting approaches to things like interacting with social. You know, when you add a social layer, what does that mean for your application? Does it become more smart as you interact with your friends and your colleagues and your family and learn more together? Or you look at things like Glass, which is outcoming very soon, and you take a look at that and say, what can you do with having another way of finding out your information right in front of you at all times? And so it's really exciting to see not just that these big bets are happening on the web and mobile, but all these other smaller pieces which might become big someday.
We're the instant gratification generation, and YouTube is that perfect source for that.
I got to know what's going on every single day.
If you think about movies, right? In the beginning, they were just, people got everything from the movie theater. There'd be a newsreel and a cartoon before the picture. That's what YouTube presents, but with this dynamic aspect of choice.
I don't care if it's shot with a professional camera. I want the information I'm watching to be engaging.
I handle YouTube, APIs and platform, and my team is responsible for teaching developers on how to use YouTube API and platform. And YouTube is a global product, right? It's popular in many, many countries. And, you know, some of the challenges is like translation, for example. Our documentation is mainly in English. And so, you know, whereas our developers are global, they're all over the world, and they speak different languages. So, you know, part of the big initiative that we have is to translate our documentation, for example, API documentation in 7 different languages. And that should hopefully help in terms of outreach and getting more global developers to use our products.
It's hard when you're young, when you're a teenager. There's a lot of peer pressure to conform.
There is a certain stigmatism to being a woman in technology. It doesn't seem to be something that you do.
I didn't want to be stuck at my desk, you know, programming on a computer, you know, 8-10 hours a day, every day for the rest of my life. It's just not how I saw myself. But so much of it is also collaborating with other people and brainstorming and problem solving.
It's working as a team. It's building things together.
It always feels like play. Doesn't feel like work.
I'm always surprised that there are not more women going into tech.
Yeah, so it is definitely you know, an issue and also an opportunity in terms of you know, additional things that we can do for women. And it's pretty dear and near to my heart as well as a woman myself. So we have different types of programs that we have initiated. So one of the programs is called Women Tech Maker, where we basically feature different women entrepreneurs, technologists, engineers who are in the tech world, who's doing something interesting, and we tell their stories. We interview them. We have a studio on campus, so we invite them to come on campus, interview them, tell their stories, and then broadcast it through our Google Developer Network. And that's one way where we hope to inspire other women to enter the technology field, and also adopt, use different Google APIs and platform to grow their application and business.
There are many meetings in Silicon Valley about innovation, technology, startups, and entrepreneurship. I was particularly thrilled to be able to witness Startup Weekend San Francisco Women's Edition.
How do we create a culture that truly celebrates risk and failure? And we talk a lot about failure in Silicon Valley, but I've been thinking about it in my own life. How do we have the sustained confidence in ourselves? Looking back on things, the biggest risks that I've ever taken, swinging from the fences, things that seemed incredibly scary, were always the things that won out in the end as the most meaningful things I've done in my life. And even creating Google for Entrepreneurs and taking on this role, I had been at Google for 7 years before that, and I was working on partnerships and I loved it. And I think it's taking risks, swinging from the fences, knowing that you completely might fail. There's nothing better.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Majority of the female participants came with their startup idea, often problems that they want to solve in real-life situations.
Why is the wedding industry so broken? It's a $40 billion industry, 2.5 million weddings every year. I'd like to build an open table for wedding venues. I need developers, ton of non-tech folks, some designers. Company's called Joybuds.
So what we can do is we actually can provide an access point for kids so that they can get technology within the 2 to 3 mile radius of where they live. So what I'd like to do is to make it accessible to everybody, focusing on little girls so that they can be just like me, because there are a lot of people just like me. But if we never reach them and we never give them the access to technology, they'll never get there.
So how many people here have thought, I would love to record my grandmother's stories? And how many of us have actually done that? I can't raise my hand for that. I want to do something about that. And so that's where StoryLink comes in.
I can create like decks of new people, their faces, and some sort of gamification element where a fun fact about them or something, and I can practice learning new faces and names.
It's so difficult to find friends, and we have some friends that are single, but then we have to hear their boring lives, and they have to boring lives. So we're boring too, but we would like to find other friends that are boring. So it's a network, it's a social network. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Google+, there's LinkedIn. They're very specialized. This would be very specialized for couples. So I need developers, I'm a business person. Okay.
So I'd like you today to help me to come up with a service which knows what I have in my closet, which learns my style within a few playful steps, and then comes up with thousands of interesting ideas for looks within milliseconds.
So let's create a buzz. Let's use SMS phones and create a league through those phones where kids can play awesome math and English and discovery games so they can learn and have fun. They can create a pen pal network with students across the globe so they can have that global exchange. And last, their schools can compete with each other and students can compete for their schools at a global level. Let's create a buzz. I need people who know mobile, web developers, and a designer. Thank you.
Savvy business thinkers, because everyone knows there's no money in online media. Developers, designers.
In 2002, my company did a survey and found that 65% of the people reported they knew someone who had an injury from working on a computer. I'm sure that number is much higher today. You get hurt, it can't work. There is no new body 2.0 to download. So you need to learn how to take care of the only body you have.
My idea is E3G, Entrepreneurship Education to Empower Girls. It's an online platform in which girls can put up their business ideas and life dreams, and they can find female leaders and mentors to be professional and personal coaches.
The significance of taking a step forward to make something happen is often discouraged by a lack of a more supportive culture, particularly for female. At a community event like Startup Weekend, what I saw was not just another startup pitches or hackathon, it was a movement in enabling female empowerment.
Welcome to Hacker Dojo. Hacker Dojo is a nonprofit, and I like to describe it as in three parts. The first part is that this is one giant co-working space. A lot of early stage startup founders come here to start their company. So you, as we'll see later, you'll see plenty of people hammering away on their keyboards, writing software, and people tinkering with electronics, trying to build their hardware companies. And then the second part is we have a lot of, this is also an event space. We have a lot of events that happen here. If you're new in town and you want to meet people in the Silicon Valley world, this is a great place to meet people who are doing real work in the startup world. So this is just more workspace for people who want more privacy.
Right, for brainstorming and a little bit. Yeah.
If it gets too noisy outside, then you can have a little bit more privacy in here.
Wonderful.
Shut this door.
How big is the team that originally organized and put this together and make this possible?
There's actually a really interesting story behind Hacker Dojo. So Hacker Dojo started out with literally under 10 people, and they were meeting once a week at one of their house in the living room.
Wow.
And they just got together, a bunch of guys got together, guys and girls got together and say, hey, every Friday night we want to start, some programming together, right? And so they started meeting at one person's living room. And then after a while they said, hey, we want to have this environment 24 hours a day. And so that's when they decided that, it started growing, and the group started growing and growing. And they said, we need a real place for this event because, the living room is getting too small. So that was how Hacker Dojo was born. And this is actually the second building because we grew out of the old building got too small. So it's been growing ever since, but that's how it started, from someone's living room.
Were there a challenge to find a space? For the first one,
Yeah, rent is always pretty high around here, so it always takes a little bit of shopping around to find the right place. So one of the things about the dojo is that this place is decorated by the community. So someone thought it would be a great idea to draw dinosaurs on the wall, and so they drew a dinosaur on the wall. Everybody here is free to decorate the dojo however they want to decorate the dojo. And yeah, it's just one of the art projects.
Do they need to just get the approval of the community?
Usually not.
No, they just do it?
Usually whoever has the idea will at least tell the rest of the community.
Saying that they're doing this?
Yeah, just to get some ideas and some feedback. But generally, there's not, I got to get permission from somebody. It's a very community-driven process. So this is another example of just art projects that people make, and they just leave it here.
Right there.
So this is just an art project that someone just left it here for decoration.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would like to check out that corner. It seems like something exciting is going on.
Yeah, so this is our, over there is our hardware corner where people who are working on electronic projects congregate, because this is where all the tools are.
Right.
Because if you're just doing software, all you need is a laptop, but then if you're working on hardware, then you actually
I may need your help to identify all that.
I'm actually not much of a hardware guy myself, so I will try my best.
And so
this is the robot that's
the robot run on laptop, or that's the laptop run? No, just kidding. Hi. Hi.
Wait, is this a different robot, or is this the?
We have many robots.
Oh, okay.
This is a version 3 design.
Okay.
Version 1 is over there. You can see that the sort of case is off, and it's all decked out.
Version 1 is slightly bigger and more.
Version 1 is really big.
Yeah.
Really big. This is version 2. Which is a lot smaller, and this is version 3.
You're simplifying it. That's what you're doing.
We're trying to get it as simple as possible, right?
Yeah.
The overall goal is to create a high-function robot that costs less than $500.
Hi.
You know the robot?
Yeah,
yes.
we would.
Cool. Well, this is my company, so I have a little hydrogen fuel cell powered robot.
Oh, wow.
So these are little micro hydrogen fuel cells. They've been consumerized for USB chargers.
Wow.
I hacked into it,
Wow.
and they gave me exclusivity over the fuel cell.
Wow.
And we made essentially a little hacker kit for education purposes.
That's really
and also
cool.
prototyping. So I just opened the hydrogen right here,
Right.
the solid state hydrogen storage,
Right.
and the little fuel cells. It's modularized as well, so we put 2 fuel cells in series to be able to, double essentially the voltage and power.
To contribute to the fundraising effort here at Hacker Dojo to help out the community. It's just a tiny effort that I did here, and if you do have a chance to stop by Silicon Valley, do check out Hacker Dojo. What is the address to Hacker Dojo?
.com, hackerdojo.com.
Right, so do check out hackerdojo.com to find out more about the community effort, the community events, and a lot more about the startup scene here in Silicon Valley. So thank you, Jay, for
You're
the
welcome.
time. Thank you for the tour. I'm
Thank
so
you for
happy
visiting.
that I was here today.
I'm glad.
Yeah, so thank you.